Dan, when we talk about manufacturing, one of these stories that we've been following very closely this week and has caught a lot of attention is what Huawei did with SMIC with regards to this 7-nanometer chip, and caught a lot of attention. I'm curious in terms of what that is telling us about the progress that China is making with regards to technology, even despite the US sanctions. When we talk about it from an investment standpoint, as far as the bearishness that we've seen from foreign investors who just don't believe in the China story right now, given some of the uncertainties in the economy, does this give us some hope in the made in China story still?
The Made in China story mainly rests on its strength in the overall supply chain. The high-tech sector, represented by Huawei, is an exception. And when we look at how much money that state is backing on this type of research and development, it is quite expensive. For the overall manufacturing sector, it is not sustainable to counting on such kind of fiscal support. And the decoupling with the US in especially the semiconductor, quantum computing, and AI technology will take a toll for China's innovation. And we're just not talking about a few years for China to catch up with the US. We're talking about basically moving resources around, centering capital in those high-tech sector. It might take decades, depending on which estimate you look at. So I don't think ultimately self-sufficiency is a solution for China. At some point, collaboration still has to be on the table.
Dan, really quickly, just in terms of that, there's already suggestions that, Congressman Gallagher and the like are making that, there's potentially been a breach of sanctions when it relates to those 7-nanometer chips that SMIC was able to produce. If we were to see the further instigation of these geopolitical tensions, if we were to see further sanctions in terms of Huawei and SMIC getting slapped, does it have a significant impact on the Chinese economy, even more so than we're already seeing in terms of the geopol?
I don't think so. The most advanced technology in China's manufacturing is only a small percentage. Of course, they capture the most attention. But for China's biggest industries, especially emerging industry like electric vehicle manufacturing, it doesn't really depend on this kind of technology. And the industry is growing quite fast. And most of the stuff can be produced and invented within the boundary of China. So we're talking about the transformative technology that could hinder China's long-term growth. But in the next few years, I really don't see this being a major obstacle.